In this video, we're going to go over some of the key features of graphs as far as completing questions. So for this one, I'm only going to focus on domain, range, and x and y intercepts because that's the first part of our lesson for this unit. So what we have here is this graph. It does not have an equation because it is something that I drew, but you can see here some specific points that are marked out on it. And I know some of them are not quite accurate, but just if it looks like it's crossing at a corner, it is crossing at a corner. So domain, if you recall from the video for the lesson, the domain is going to be your x's from left to right. So you want to go to your graph and you want to look and see what's the farthest you go to the left, what's the farthest that you go to the right. Assuming that we're counting by ones because there's no marking on this, to the left, the furthest that we go is -1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So -5 is going to be the farthest to the left. That dot is closed, which means I'm going to be using a bracket with that -5. I am going to answer everything in interval notation. So remember, brackets are for closed dots, parentheses are for open dots. The farthest to the right that we go is here, and so if I count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is a +5. So from -5 to +5, and that +5 is also a closed dot, so that is going to get a bracket as well. For the range, we are looking at bottom to top. So I'm looking at the farthest down that I go versus the farthest up that I go. Well, the farthest down that I go is this point right here. And that's down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be a -5. It is a closed dot, so that will also be a bracket. The farthest up that I go right here is up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as well. And again, that's a closed dot, so that's going to be +5. X-intercepts are where your graph crosses the x-axis. So we actually have two places where we cross the x-axis. We cross here and we cross there. And you just want to name the x-coordinates of those points. So right here, 1, 2, 3, that's a -3. And over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, +4. So this is -3 and 4. I'm not going to put this in parentheses because it's not an ordered pair. It is not a region. Those are two specific values. -3 is one of the values, 4 is the other value. You can separate them with the word and like I did here, or you can use a comma, but no parentheses or brackets around those. And then lastly, we have y-intercept. The y-intercept is where your graph crosses the y-axis. We cross down here. I know it's not perfect, but that's because I kind of hand drew this. So it does cross at that actual point, which is -1, 2, 3, 4. So -4 is going to be my y-intercept for that. So for now, that's all we're going to be doing for this question. I do want to pull up a different one so that you can see how your answer might change if you have open dots. And these other things, increasing, decreasing, positive, negative, and rate of change, we'll be talking about those in a different video. So you don't need to worry about those right now. Okay, let's do number 2. So number 2, again, it's asking us the same things, domain, range, x and y intercepts. That is where I'm going to stop for today. I will come back and do another video to answer the other questions. Your domain, again, is the x from left to right. Your range is the y, which is bottom. Rewrite that so that you can read it. That is your y from bottom to top. So our domain, the farthest to the left that we go, is right here. And that is an open dot, which means it is going to be a parenthesis. 1, 2, 3, 4. So -4 is going to get a parenthesis. The farthest to the right that I go is here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm sorry, that does not get a parenthesis because that 4 has a closed dot. So that is going to be a bracket. Next, we're going to look at range. Range is again bottom to top. Now the top in this case is not actually an endpoint. This is the furthest up that my graph goes. So that's the y value that I'm going to be using. The furthest down that I go, 1, 2, 3, is -4. That is also going to be a parenthesis because that dot is open. The furthest up that I go, 1, 2, 3, 4, those are both closed dots, and even if one was closed and one was open, because there is an existence of a closed dot, that's going to be a bracket. So now we are looking at x-intercept. So I'm looking for every time that my graph either crosses through or touches the x-axis. This actually crosses the x-axis in 3 places. Here, here, here. Now this middle one, it doesn't actually cross through, but it does touch, so it still counts as an x-intercept. So we have 1, 2, -3, -1, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So my y-intercepts, -3, -1, and 4. Again, those are not ordered pairs. We would just put them in a list. I'm not going to put parentheses around those. Y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis, this should only occur at one place. I think I designed all of these to be functions. So x-intercepts, you can have multiple. Y-intercepts, you should only ever have one. And we cross the y-axis here. Now I know it's not perfect, it's a little bit off because I did draw this myself, but that's going to be a +1. So my y-intercept is +1. So I hope this was helpful to be kind of an add-on to the notes that we did for class. What I would like you to do now is to go through and complete the other problems in this packet by just doing the first 4 parts. So you should do the domain, the range, the x and the y intercepts. I do want to point out, when you get to the last page, question number 8 asks you to create your own. So that means I want you to draw your own figure, and then you're going to be answering the questions about it. It's really up to you how difficult or how simple you want to make this. Just make sure that you answer all the questions accurately based on what you have. And please contact me if you have any questions.